This PowerPoint has been prepared for the CCNFP no-cost program for teaching natural family planning. It is based on the assumption that a woman has learned about or refreshed her knowledge of the ovulation methods based on cervical mucus. The use of ovulation predictor kits or LH tests should not be used alone for NFP, but they can be used with the ovulation methods to observe and track cervical mucus. The woman's menstrual cycle and her peak fertility. The woman's hormone that triggers ovulation. This presentation explains the surge in the luteinizing hormone that a woman may experience in her menstrual cycle, to be used as a secondary test to predict ovulation in conjunction with the current protocol of cervical mucus methods for avoiding or achieving pregnancy. The woman can use ovulation predictor kits or OPKs or LH strips to detect when the LH surge occurs in her menstrual cycle. The CCNFP no-cost NFP training program does not provide OPKs or LH strips. We will discuss some of them and the best prices we know. A woman can use this information to optimize her chances of conceiving, or she can use it to avoid pregnancy naturally. It is suggested that you use Easy at Home or Premom strips in conjunction with the Premom app. It is optional. These strips have been tested and compared in some research studies. The LH surge occurs approximately on cycle day 14 to 16 in regular menstrual cycles, 28-30 days, of reproductive age 20 to 42 years old women with a healthy body weight. The LH is required for ovulation, and LH surge begins 24 to 36 hours before ovulation, when her estrogen is at peak levels, peak tight mucus, and it takes approximately 3 days to return to its baseline. Because the LH surge occurs before ovulation, women should learn to confidently identify the LH surge by using OPKs or LH strips from Easy at Home or Premom. A typical LH surge has a rapid increase, a spike, or a gradual increase biphasic or plateau. The LH surge reaches a peak, the highest level of LH, and then decreases to a low level during the following days. Most women, 98%, need just one LH surge to induce ovulation, and in those cases, the LH returns to their baseline levels. There are two types of OPKs or LH strips: those that are qualitative, Easy at Home, and quantitative, Premom. Both will give you two lines, control and test lines, and they will provide a positive or negative result and an increase or decrease in LH levels as you test. Let's start with Easy at Home, qualitative. It means that you're comparing the intensity of the pink color of the two lines, the control line and the testing line. When the intensity of the testing line is as dark or greater than the control line, the woman has reached the LH peak or a positive result. The woman will recognize if she's close to ovulation using the app, which is optional, when she starts having levels above 0.5, which correspond to the score. Premom, quantitative. It means that a woman is getting levels units for the LH surge by using a reference color chart. The woman will match the color of her testing line with the color of the reference line to determine if she's close to ovulation or not. If she's over reference level 10, she needs to continue testing to reach higher levels above 15 or greater, and in that way she may ovulate within 24 to 36 hours. Second, a negative or a low test is when she is getting values or reference levels between 0 and 10 when she compares the testing line with the reference level. And a positive would be when that testing line is greater than 15 until 80 reference levels. We recommend that you score your result visually and with the app, which is optional. How to score your result with qualitative strips. You can have the following scores. Low or negative, it corresponds to a negative result when only the control line is deep pink and there is no line on the test line. Or a very faint line, some pink color, on the testing line. You may get scores lower than 0.5 when using the app. High score. It corresponds to a test line darker than of 0.5 score using the app, but not as dark as the control line. This indicates that she needs a couple of more hours to get into the LH peak, highest level. The app score will be greater than 0.5 and less than 1. Score peak. It corresponds to a test line darker than the control line. This is a positive result or a score greater than 1. How to score your result with quantitative strips. Low or negative, it corresponds to a negative result when the LH levels of the testing line compared to the reference level using the color chart are between 0 and 10 units. High, it corresponds to an LH level of the testing line comparing to the reference line greater than 50 units and less than 25. Peak, it corresponds to a LH level of the testing line compared to the reference line on the color chart to a greater than 25 units. Some women will have levels between 11 to 25 when they ovulate. Most women have levels greater than 25 when they ovulate. Using the qualitative tests, we recommend women start testing for the LH search using a test strip C graphic, starting on cycle day 6 of their cycles with concentrate urine, for example 3 to 4 urine after her last void in the late afternoon or early evening. The woman can also use LH strip when mucus or sensation changes are unclear, or when she starts her fertile window based on cervical mucus, as this example on the left. She started testing in the morning on cycle day 10. The number of LH strips that a couple will use is approximately 9 plus days per cycle and more if their cycles are longer than 35 days. When she starts having a greater score using the app of 0.5, she can start testing morning and evening in order to detect the highest level of LH that is indicated by the peak LH of the positive LH test. As well, she can assign the result or the score visually by calling them negative or positive. Positive means that there's an LH search, so the testing line is darker than the control line, or a negative result when there's no testing line present or a very pale pink. There are some requirements to accurately test LH in urine and interpret its changes during the menstrual cycle. These tests are for women with regular cycles between 20 to 42 years old. Once the woman is familiar with the LH search, her unique LH scores or values, it will assist her in knowing that ovulation is about to occur. Women with PCOS, irregular cycles, and perimenopause shouldn't use qualitative LH testing alone. They could have more than one LH search per cycle or lower levels than the average women. They need medical advice. Early in her menstrual cycle, a woman's LH level should be low or negative. The qualitative values will be less than a score of 0.5, and the quantitative values will be between 0 and 10. When she is at her highest level of estrogen, peak-type mucus, or one of her follicles is nearing maturity, the pituitary gland is stimulated to release the LH. The woman will detect the surge of LH by observing the test line increasing in pink color, or higher levels of LH using the quantitative test. The qualitative values will be greater than a score of 0.5 cis graphic, and the quantitative values will be greater than 15. The LH surge triggers the release of an egg ovum from its follicle, called ovulation. Ovulation will occur within 24-36 hours after the occurrence of the LH surge. Ovulation, the most important event of a woman's cycle. Once the release of the egg from its follicle, the woman needs to determine when the fertile window will end to resume intercourse if the couple is postponing pregnancy. 3 negative LH tests in 3 consecutive days may confirm the end of the fertile window. She detected on cycle day 12 the highest level as peak, and she started observing a couple of hours later that the levels were decreasing, and in the following days she noticed that they were turning into low, even to negative results. When the woman's LH levels start to decrease to her baseline levels, she may have ovulated. When 3 full days in a row with LH negative or low results have been reached, the fertile window may end. If the woman has ovulated, the LH levels will continue being negative between 0 and 10 using quantitative strips, and low less than 0.5 using qualitative strips until the end of the cycle. Requirements: the use of OPKs to predict ovulation and the end of her fertile phase on her menstrual cycle. The woman needs to have regular cycles between 22 to 42 days in length, and her age should be between 20 to 42 years of age. She needs to use a concentrate urine 3 to 4 hours between voids every day, and when she starts seeing an increase of the LH levels, she needs to test twice a day until detecting the highest concentration of LH, called LH peak. She needs to chart at least 3 complete cycles to determine the cycle day where her LH surges. Things that can cause errors in detecting her LH surge: irregular cycles, very short or long, amenorrhea, 3 months without menstruation, PCOS, perimenopause, pregnancy, obesity and overweight, and infertility. What are the NFP methods that include LH testing are referred to? Symptohormonal, Marquette model methods, hormonal testing, plus basal body temperature and or mucus. Fertility education medical managed, FEM, LH testing and or mucus. Types of OPKs of LH strips. We have the qualitative, easy at home. Each strip costs 30 cents. Quantitative, premium strips. Each strip costs 90 cents. Q. Which one should a woman use and why? A. Qualitative is best for women with regular menstrual cycles, 28 to 30 days, and a reproductive age of 20 to 42 years old and a healthy body weight. Quantitative is best for women with PCOS, irregular cycles, and perimenopause, or those that the qualitative strips cannot detect the LH search. Pros and cons of using LH strips. It is an objective measure to predict ovulation if the LH search is detected. The probability to ovulate is between 98% in women with regular cycles and between 20 to 42 years old. It is required that the woman tracks her cervical mucus or another biomarker such as hormonal testing, estrogen, to identify the beginning of the fertile window and confirm ovulation using BVT or progesterone.